Howdy folks, Justin with the Florida Bluegrass Network, here with Bob Landry of Skeeter Creek. And very special interview today folks, because what you're looking at here is called The Door. And I've seen it a few times at a few festivals and always wondered what it was. And Bob was nice enough to sit down with me here and give us a little intro to it and discuss all the different names you see here. So Bob, first tell me about you. How'd you come about the whole bluegrass scene?
By accident.
By accident?
Totally, but I had no idea back in the early 80s what bluegrass was. And I came back from a camping trip with the family, and we pulled into Fixed Park down there in Stewart to dump my tanks in the motorhome. And I always did that. And I knew the park manager, Reggie, quite well. And I come pulling in there. It was a Friday night. We had come back early. And as soon as I pulled in, I saw hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of campers, people, big tents, people selling everything from sausages to hats and t-shirts. And I said to Reggie, what in the heck is going on here? And he said, it's a bluegrass festival. I says, what is that? And I thought it was some agricultural thing going on,
right.
Where instead of green grass, now you're going to have bluegrass. And that's how naive I was about bluegrass. So he said, go dump your tanks and check it out. So I went down and did that. Told the wife, I'll be back in a minute. I walked around, I got around that tent, and I can't remember who was actually playing at the time, but he was a banjo player, and he had his band up, and I was just totally, I was ready to go to heaven. I mean, I had never heard such beautiful music in all my life. That banjo cracking, the fiddle going, the guy slapping the bejeebies out of a bass, and I said, son of a gun. I went back to the motorhome, told the wife, I said, I'm going to take you guys back to the house. It's only a couple miles down the road. And I'm going to bring the motorhome back. I'm going to spend the weekend. I really got to check this out. And so that's what I did. And I'll tell you, come Sunday when I had to leave there, I was hooked. And that was it. That was my first taste of bluegrass music.
So now all these years later, those of you guys that don't know, Skeeter Creek, amazing band playing all over the state. Just got done playing Black Prong last weekend. You played Yeehaw, just all over, and then you're based out of Stewart, Florida. So you call this The Door.
Yes.
So explain to me how this got started.
Well, I don't know if you can turn that page and you can actually show him the, right on the back of that cover. Open that up, no, open this up. There it is right there. Back then I had, after I got rid of the motorhome, I bought an Airstream travel trailer, and I actually painted this on one of the door panels of the trailer. And
You painted it by hand yourself?
Yeah, this is actually a county park in Stewart called Sanskrit Park. We used to camp there, and I used that as the layout because it had the water and the ocean back here. And I just designed a bluegrass festival, and put the ice machine and the campers and a portalette and some people, and just started collecting autographs. And Bill Monroe signed it when it was still on the trailer. Maybe go to the first page on that, and you can show him right there. There's Bill, and that was back in '85, and his Rhonda Vincent in '86. When she signed it, when she was still with Sally Mountain Show, her family band. And then ever since then, it's just full of bluegrass stars. I don't just let anybody sign it. They've got to be a good, recognizable, well-known bluegrass artist.
I've seen so many great bands that I love. The Bass Mountain Boys, the Boys from Indiana have signed this. And so what festivals have you gone to capture all of these different bands?
A lot of them in Florida. We did do Cherokee a couple of times. Palatka, I've got a slew of them at Palatka. They always get a lot of entertainment there. I've got some here at Withlacoochee.
So there guys who don't know, Palaka's Road Heavers Boys Ranch up in northeastern Florida. We're here at the Withlacoochee River Bluegrass Festival here in Dunellen, Florida. And you said you got some at Yeehaw as well?
Right, I got some there. I got some in Auburn, Alabama. Kissimmee, they had an indoor festival there years ago in Kissimmee. Okeechobee, Sertoma Youth Ranch, I've gotten some there, but 90% of them are in Florida.
So what was the hardest signature to obtain? Who gave you the most grief about signing this beautiful
The only
piece?
person that ever refused was Elaine Roy,
Okay.
the Roys.
Mhm.
I ran into them in, and I can't even remember where. I'd have to go through my book to tell you. And I saw their performance, her and her brother in the band, and I was impressed. And so I went up to their table after their stage show, and I showed Elaine this, and she was fascinated with all the signatures. And I said, I'd surely be honored if I would get you to sign this. She's looking again, and she's the only one that ever said, I can't sign it. I'm not worthy of putting my signature among Bill, Chubby, Dr. Ralph. And I said, Elaine, if I didn't think you were worthy, I wouldn't be standing here.
That's amazing.
And I gave her the magic marker and said, sign it. So she did, and I got a picture. Everybody that signs this, I take the photograph of them next to it. This authenticates the autograph. I've seen a lot of people walking around with an instrument that somebody signed, but I'll ask them, do you have a photograph that authenticates that? Well, no, I didn't think about it. Well, anybody can sign somebody's signature, but this is all documented. This is everybody that signs it is in this book.
So, when this is all complete, where's this going? Someplace in your house, or?
No, actually, I've had two promoters that wanted it, and they figured. And it's funny how they asked me, Bob, what are you going to do with that when you die? And you know the two promoters, but I'm not going to mention their names. But they wanted to continue this. You know, they keep promoting festivals, and they would add signatures, get the photographs, and keep it going. But then I ran into, you know, Ted Lehman?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I was talking to Ted, and he said, Bob, don't you dare. He says, how long are they going to be promoting? He said, what happens if 5 years from now they get out of it? Where's this going to end up? In a garage sale somewhere?
Right.
You know, he said, this is history.
It is.
And so he gave me the name of the girl in charge of securing items for the museum, the Bluegrass Museum. And I talked to her. I sent her some photographs of what I had of some of the people. And she said, don't you dare give that to a promoter. She goes, talk it over with your wife. Put it in your will. She goes, we want this in the museum. Because this is history. So many of these individuals have passed away. And a lot of the new ones that I've gotten in the last, 10, 15 years, a lot of them have come and gone, but a lot of them have really turned into really, really fantastic musicians. And so that's where it's going.
I think it's amazing. Honestly, we've discussed this, you and I personally. There's so many great bluegrass festivals in the state of Florida, and it's such a small world. You're with Withlacoochee, you've been at Sertoma, you've been at Yeehaw, Palatka, all these places, seen so many amazing bands and gotten their signatures. It's got to be, I think it's just beautiful piece of, even though you've been to Cherokee, North Carolina, and a few other festivals, I think this is basically a work of art for Florida as well. You know, being this a Stewart Park, and a lot of these bands you saw, one of these beautiful bluegrass festivals we have here.
Yeah, it's been a joy. I've had a lot of comments on this. I'll be walking to the stage to get an autograph, and I hear people in the background going, there goes that guy with the door, because that's what I refer to it as, because that's really what it was.
Well, thank you, Bob. Bob Landry from the band Skeeter Creek. I'm Justin Mason, Florida Bluegrass Network. Thank you guys for tuning in.